everybody, it's Jen from Jen Geigley Knits, and I know it's been a minute since I've had a video to upload. This summer has been completely bananas. The kids' schedules have been crazy, my work schedule has been nuts, and we just haven't had a minute to like sit and regroup and take a breath. Like I have not had a quiet house until right now in probably a month, seriously. Lotus just got her first job and she's there right now, and I actually have to pick her up in 20 minutes, so this will be quick. The boys are on a bike ride, and so I have like a second to like see what's going on and give you a quick update on what's happening, because there's lots of fun stuff happening. It's just been kind of crazy. I'll start with the first kind of exciting thing. I was contacted by some local friends at the Avenues of Des Moines, Iowa, where I live, because in July, there's a big statewide event that happens every year called RAGBRAI, and it's the Register's annual bike ride across Iowa. RAGBRAI. It's a big deal, and so people come from everywhere to ride a different route each year across the state of Iowa, and then they dip their bikes wheels into the Mississippi River at the end of their route. And so it goes through different cities each year, and this year it goes through Des Moines, which is very exciting for all of us Des Moines people. And so some people will ride the entire thing. Like my husband's probably gonna do a couple of days in the local areas because you still have to work and stuff, but some people take off and do the whole ride, and it's a very exciting thing for Iowa. Like lots of famous riders have come to do this over the years, and so it's like kind of a big deal. Anyway, the Avenues of Des Moines, is that what they're called? The Avenues? Anyway, it's an area of Des Moines where it's like not downtown but close to it, called Ingersoll Avenue, and they thought it'd be cool to yarn bomb some bikes, and I was like, yes, sign me up. I will totally lead this effort. I was really excited. I've been involved in yarn bombing projects before with London Kay from LA, who is like queen of yarn bombing, and she's kind of shared her skills and taught us some things. We did Love Across the USA a couple of years ago, where we kind of yarn bombed in different cities across the USA, and I did Des Moines. So I have a little bit of experience from that, and then some other little projects here and there where I've just like helped do something. Like at the Des Moines Art Center, we had a yarn bombing project that was like a large scale piece made from little squares from community knitters that all donated the squares. Then we helped sew them together into a formation that resembled a Georgia O'Keeffe painting, and that was hung outside our art museum. Anyway, so back to the bikes. I'm yarn bombing bikes for RAGBRAI. I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, what have I got myself into? Because it's begins on July 22nd, so it's really soon. But I think I've got a plan, and I've got yarn. We had all these nice community knitters donate yarn at Chain and Spoke, which is a bike coffee shop that is local. And we put a donation bin there, like a laundry basket, and tons of people already donated yarn. So we have like a whole bunch of yarn ready to go. And this is like when you want like your red heart and like your bright randoms. This is the time you're like, yes, that's exactly what we need. So I have been starting to make strips. This is my strategy, and I'm gonna share more about this later because I think there's lots of different ways to yarn bomb bikes, and I've seen it done a lot online. But I am going about it with strips, because then I figure I can wrap this around the different size tubes, tires, parts of the bike, the handlebars. And so like this is one of my strips to cover one of the bike tubes. And I have like created my own unit of measurement, which is 15 rows. And so like I lay this on different parts of the bike, and I'll be like, okay, I need like 4 stripes for this part, 2 for this part, 6 for this other part. And that's how I'm measuring, and it's working. So just like go with this. And then I'm doing black and white for most of the tires if I don't run out. And these fit pretty nicely over the bike tires, and I've got a good set of these going. And then I'm just working on the rest. And then there's people that are other knitters are knitting strips and crocheting strips, and I've got a donation bin for those. So if you want to drop some off, but that's also at Chain and Spoke. You can knit or crochet. I'm just doing stockinette strips. I like the stripes. I think it's really fun to make it colorful and cool. And so, yeah, we've got enough yarn. I think I can do this because I'm somewhat not cheating because it's still a lot of work, but hold on, I'll show you 1 second. Okay, back. You have seen maybe in past videos, I've posted about my Addy knitting machine. I have an Addy King knitting machine like this, and this is the mini version of that. I don't even know what it's called, Addy Express. Maybe it's just the Addy Express. Anyway, this has far less little needles on the whatever cylinder. And my sweet friend Tara sent this to me. I don't even think she had opened it, didn't really know what to do with it, and I was like, I will totally use that. But then I got it and I was like, I don't know how to use this either, until this project came along and I realized this makes the exact right size that I'm needing for this yarn bomb situation. So it exactly makes this perfect size to cover a bike tire or the different bike parts. And I'm just like, no way. So I'm using this to whip through some of this worsted weight, lovely acrylic yarn to make these strips. And it's really easy. It has a little counter on it so I can tell exactly where I am, and I can do 15 rows per color and do my little unit of measurement and cover these bikes. And then we're also gonna cover bike racks so that this also works for that. And I'm just like so incredibly grateful for this machine right now, because we all know hand knitting for a large yarn bombing project is just like very, very time consuming. And I just found out about this about a week ago. So there's just not enough time to do what I want to do by hand completely, but this is really saving my life right now. And it's really fun, and it is still a skill. It is different than hand knitting, but it is still knitting, and it is still like, if you don't know what you're doing, it can be really tricky and frustrating. But I've been playing with these a lot, so I'm pretty good at it now. And these are really fun to bust out, and the black and white tire covers. It's really fun. So I'm excited about this. I'm really excited to see it come all together. People have donated bikes. We're kind of, getting all the pieces put together, and then people are donating strips. So I think eventually I'm going to have a lot of strips I can sew together to cover the bike racks, to cover whatever pieces I'm missing on the actual bikes themselves. When I first found out about this project, I was a little bit afraid that I would be kind of doing this on my own. And I think it's pretty doable, even if I, whatever. Because sometimes people say, I will help, I will do it. And then, but nothing really actually, I get it, because we're all so busy. And when it, knitting strips takes time, crocheting takes time. So I get it when people are like, I'll help, but then the time runs out because this is kind of a short deadline. But anyway, I just wanted to share what's going on with this. And it's kind of my big project at the moment that has pushed all the other projects to the side. I'm still doing lots of graphic design stuff. I will show you, I'm doing something really fun with Madelinetosh. They have a summer FORAGE unicorn tails club. And I've been doing their graphic design for a little while now, which has been so much fun to do graphic design that is yarn related. And it's just like the two of my favorite things put together at once. And it's just kind of the best. But they asked me earlier this year to design some art prints to go with these unicorn tail clubs. So I got to see a sneak peek of the colors of the yarn. They're so good, by the way. And then I pulled colors from that in Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop to make these art prints. And it's foraged, so it is based on, there's a set with mushrooms, there's a set with seaweed, and there's a set with lichen that's inspired by those natural colors. So this is my first art print for the first set, and this is for the mushroom set. It's weirdly focusing and not focusing. These are the mushrooms. So these are the actual yarn colors that I pulled from the photo, and then the set just mailed out. So I'm just seeing the yarn colors in person for the first time myself, and they're so good. They're so beautiful and pretty. There we go, focus a little bit maybe. We've got a deep purple, sorry, wow. Orange, yellow, kind of a pinky, and then like a grayish purple. And they are absolutely beautiful. And they match the mushroom print. If you can see, which I'm really bad at this. But how fun. This is like the most fun ever. So I encourage you to check those out. The mushroom one I think is already sold out and they've already shipped. So next up will be seaweed and then lichen. So mushroom was June, seaweed is July, lichen is August. And then at the end, when everything is shipped, I heard they're going to open it back up for anybody who, you know, like some of us want to see the sets before we commit. And if you are one of those people, like I'm usually one of those people too, you can wait till then and you can still order these awesome unicorn tail sets. And you get a free pattern with these sets. This one comes with a small shawl, like a little bandana type thing. And then if you get all three, I think you get a pattern for all three. So all three sets, a pattern to use all the yarn in those sets at the end of all this. So very, very fun. Had to share that. Other whips I have going on, I still am doing my Me Time tee for Madlinetosh that I designed earlier this year, which is that basic t-shirt. And this is the color Birkenstock in wool cotton, Madlinetosh. That's still in my project bag and I do a row here and there when I have time. But the yarn bombing has really taken over most of my time, except I did finish one little thing recently that is so cute. It is the Purl Soho dumpling bag. This thing is so adorable. So it's one of those bags with a long handle and a short handle. It is made out of linen, which is like, this linen's different than some other linens I've used before. It feels really cool and it blocks out really nicely. As you're knitting it, it doesn't look, it might look a little wonky as you're going, but then you block it and it turns magically into this beautiful little bag where you put the long strap through the short and it just hangs like that on your arm. And I love it, it's so cute. Such a cute little project bag or just mini purse. It's like you're going to the farmer's market or what have you. So those are kind of my whips and what I've been working on. Last thing is the Stephen West sock knit along that starts, I think, in just a couple of days in July. I don't know why, I just feel like I have to like maybe cast on for that. So I picked a couple of colors of Madlinetosh Twist Light. And I thought these were so bright and fun. This one's almost like a dark, dark teal green, and then my highlighter yellow, which is just kind of a go-to. Because he was saying, you know, pick a big contrast, something kind of solid-ish. And so I just went with these two. And I'm kind of excited just to see, you know, his knit-alongs are such an adventure and they're so fun to follow. So if I have time, I would love to cast on and at least make one sock during the month of July. Anyway, would you like to go outside and see my donated bikes that I'm going to be covering in yarn? Let's go. Let me show you the bikes that I'm working on. These bikes are amazing and they kind of represent different eras, which is really fun. And they were donated by our bike collective. We have an old Schwinn that looks pretty 80s. This nice red Schwinn kids bike. Then we go up to like the teen 90s version of this sassy bike with the pink and periwinkle. Pretty fun. And then we have the AMF Roadmaster, which looks pretty 70s, 80s. And it's a, wait, I was looking at this earlier. Maybe Bo took off the tag. Anyway, that's a fun one. And as you can see, I'm gonna take them the strips. These strips, let's see if I can do this with one hand, are meant to fit over this bar. Okay, I kind of have this laid on here for now. I'm going to wrap these strips around each part of the bike, use the tails to sew the edges around, and I think it's working pretty slick so far. So do I have a lot left to do? Yes, I do, but I plan. It's very doable, I think. I think I've got this, and it's gonna be a super fun project, and I just hope it comes together really nicely. It's the weekend, so I'm going to crank out some more of these strips and hopefully get them attached to some bikes. I'm waiting, I have to keep a couple strips off of the bikes because I still use it to measure every other part that I need to cover. So I'm gonna at least get the tires all done. I really wanna get them on, and then I can start with these smaller pieces and get it super bright and colorful. So hang out with me while I crank some strips. That pretty much wraps up my midsummer yarn bombing catch-up video. I do hope to make another video when I get the bikes like almost finished and when I collect more strips from other knitters and crocheters in the area, because I hope this becomes kind of a fun community project. And then I'll be stitching all those together to make longer strips to go over the bike racks and whatever else we have left on the bikes to cover. And then I'll make another video when I go install the bikes and put them on the fence where we plan to put them down on Ingersoll, plus, you know, the bike racks. So I hope to take you along for that and see the finished project for RAGBRAI, which I think is July 22nd, so it's coming up really fast. But thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for helping me work through these strips and hanging out while I work on these. Like and subscribe if you would like to. My name is Jen Geigley, and that's my handle on Instagram if you'd like to follow me there as well, because I'll be posting lots of pictures of this progress. And thanks for hanging out. Thank you for watching today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.